Welcome everybody back to another edition of Reactivated. Yes, thank you all so much for joining. Of course, every episode that we do, we delve literally into the depths of the boxes of toys and things and come out with all sorts of stuff that we used for the series and what was available at the time. And I actually came across something that, this is how much of a fan I was of Robot Wars. This was a project I had to do back in primary school, and the title is Why I Love Robot Wars. Okay, and it was all done on Microsoft Word in primary school. I think this is probably where the Third Wars was peaking, and I had to submit it and everything. So Why Robot Wars is my favourite TV series. It just shows you how much of a fan I really was of the series. It was something I used to talk about and go into school the day after and talk about the last heat. And look, I've got little graphs and forms here and chaos facts. Chaos is a strong robot with a flipper. It can be very dangerous at times, spelt dangerous wrong. It could lift a human clean into the air. Yeah, okay, that's good. Any more highlights here? Down below, the robots have battled in the Third Wars. And there you go, there was no copying and pasting off the internet. This was all handwritten, on Word, typed in, should I say. Then there's there's a question. Who won the Second Wars? What weapon has Shunt got? Where does the robot All-Talk come from? Ireland. Heat M, in Heat M of Series 3, which favourite robot went through? Favourites? Robot? And the list, and it goes on. Pinball, football. Last but not least, the House Robots. Go through the House Robots. Best of Bash. Matilda Moments. Shunt not shunting, dead is dead metal, killers killing again against Kilowat, something like that. Big ballot. I was obsessed, absolutely obsessed. There we go. Anyway, 25 years old that report. Yep, roughly. Okay, right. Let's go to. I digress a bit here now. Let's go over to our fantasy fight first. Let's see who will be joining Nuts, Anarchy, and M2 in the Annihilator, shall we? Again, totally at random from all 10 series. Let's see, we've got one here even, that's got nothing on it. What have I done here? Try again, shall we? Wheelosaurus from Series 2 and 4. Oh, that's interesting actually. More on Wheelosaurus a bit later. I think I've just given something away there. Anyway. And then we have Lamsey. Jeez, God, that is so underwhelming, isn't it? Lamsey, Wheelosaurus. Lamsey more manoeuvrable. Wheelosaurus looked good. Peter Gibson, wasn't it, with Wheelosaurus? Very well respected robots here. I'm probably going to give this to Lamsey, mainly because the lower they could get the flipper in underneath. There we go. So Lamsey will join Nuts, Anarchy, and M2 in the Annihilator. That's shaped up to be a weird one, isn't it? Now, go over to next is Soundbot.
The metal's in there as well, and that looks like the gas canister's been ripped off Sergeant Bash. Sergeant Bash is in real trouble here. It's been immobilised.
The answer will be revealed a bit later. If you've been following what I've been saying already, I've given a bit of a clue out already. Right, now, from a question that came in not so long ago, it was, what if Terahertz had actually qualified in Series 7? I was going to do a what if section of Terahertz qualifying in Series 7, but then I thought, let's extend this. Okay, we're going to spend a bit of time now on this particular what if from Series 7. So what do I mean by expanding? Well, I'm going to say, for this particular what if, okay, again, we're going to go through everything here, every fight. What if all seeded robots in Series 7 had made it through their heat? Okay, so we're going to spend some time working out who would have won Series 7 if the seeds had made it through. So, you can see on your screen at home, Heat 1, of course, would have been Pussycat. Heat 2 would have been Terahertz. And then what if, within a what if here, what if Terahertz had actually made it into the arena? So they would have, of course, been against Jackson Wallop, Gyrobot, Killer, wasn't Killer Carrots, Killer Cats, wasn't it? I think Gyrobot would have gone through with Terahertz there. Terahertz then would have been against Big Nipper. And then Grim Reaper versus Gyrobots. I think in the Heat final it would have been Terahertz versus Grim Reaper. Terahertz winning the Heat. There we go. That's a little bit of a what if within a what if. And then Heat 3. Where are we? Heat 3, yes, of course it was Dan Tomkier. Now Heat 4, 13 Black would have gone through. Heat 5, Tornado. Heat 6, Exterminator. Heat 7, Smidsy. Heat 8, Ming. Heat 9, Storm 2, of course. Heat 10, Thermidor. Bulldog Breed, Behemoth, Panic Attack, Spawn Again, Bigger Brother, and Firestorm. Okay, and we're going to keep to the same semi-final lineup, okay, as if they would have come across it. So Tornado would have been against Spawn Again. Dan Tomkier would have been against 13 Black. Ming would have been against Exterminator, and Bulldog Breed would have been against Panic Attack. So, Tornado would have beaten Spawn Again, definitely. Dan Tomkier would have beaten 13 Black, because of course they fought each other in Series 6. Ming would have lost to Exterminator, without doubt, and Bulldog Breed would have beaten Panic Attack. It would have been an interesting semi-final, that, wouldn't it? Then in the second round of that semi, Tornado would have met Dan Tomkier, and Tornado would have gone through, I think. And then Exterminator, again, would have been against Bulldog Breed. No change there. Exterminator going through. So Tornado and Exterminator, in the end, would make the same grand final as how it played out in the actual show. And in semi-final 2 would have been, I think, maybe slightly different here. Firestorm would have been against Behemoth. Of course, Mute, you know. Now that would have been a very interesting fight. Thermidor would have been against Bigger Brother, not Typhoon. Smidsy would have been against Pussycats. They fought, of course, in Extreme. And Terahertz versus Storm. I mean, gosh. That is a very good semi-final, isn't it? So, Firestorm would have beaten Behemoth just, I think. Very close judge's decision. Bigger Brother would have beaten Thermidor. Pussycats would have beaten Smidsy, I think. And now, Terahertz and Storm, close fight. But I'm going to base this win on the challenge belt in Extreme 2 where Tornado beat Terahertz. So Storm, much more, well, stronger than Terahertz, would have pushed Terahertz around. So Storm going through to fighting Firestorm. No change there. Storm going through. So the only real change to the grand final, if all the seeds had gone through, would have been this last fight. Bigger Brother versus Pussycat. And I think Bigger Brother would have gone through based on the fact that Pussycat wasn't as strong at this point. So there you go. The only robot, the only difference would have been Bigger Brother rather than Typhoon 2. So Tornado against Storm. Storm going through. Exterminator versus Bigger Brother. You see, I think Bigger Brother, because it was so strong, would have got through to the grand final. So Tornado Exterminator in the playoffs again. Tornado winning. And then Storm versus Bigger Brother in the grand final. I think Storm would have won Series 7 if all seeds had gone through. There we go. Do you agree? Please leave a message below. Do you agree that all that might have happened and played out if the seeds had gone through? But that was my take on what could have happened if all seeds went through. There we are. Now let's move on to a bit of merchandise memories. As we move through the reviews of this third batch today, we are going to be reviewing Growler the Prowler. There we go. This is the toy, Growler. There he is. Very good looking replica here for me. It had the feel of the toy. It was quite satisfying driving on 4 wheels. It was very smooth. For me, this is why I'm only going to give Growler a 9 out of 10. The only one thing that lets Growler the toy down was the jaw. It was very underwhelming. Okay, so for a start, it didn't really open much, and it couldn't really claw any other robots. So I mean, on the actual show, Growler would have easily beaten and got into Wheelie Big Cheese, for example, but it just couldn't. And also, the bottom jaw never moved, and if you're on the ground, on the arena, the ground clearance of the jaw when you were fighting with another toy was too high. Okay, once a robot was grappled, so let's use Firestorm for an example, you could then move it around the arena like this, fantastic, and then move like we did in our shows. We used Growler to great use in his shows. There you see, look, there's Firestorm. Oh, I'm actually playing as if it's a fight. There you go, one Growler, dump into the pit. In you go. So, for me, Growler, a very good replica. It also came with some weird tower and balls. I don't really know. Like I said before, this is a period where I think they were running out of ideas for additional merchandise bits for the toys. Here it is. It's like a tower, and then the balls went in. Oh, there's one gone. The ball went in like that, and they could rest on the top like that. And then you just hit it maybe like a pinball obstacle. But it was probably the least underwhelming edition that you could get with the toys. So there we go, Growler in a nutshell. 9 out of 10. Very good looking piece of plastic. We had fun with Growler in the arena, and there we go, 9 out of 10. Now, just before we move on to your questions, we go back to Soundbot, and I gave a little bit away at the beginning of this episode. If you had guessed, well, hear it first. Here it is.
Middle's in there as well, and that looks like the gas canister's been ripped off Sergeant Bash. Sergeant Bash is in real trouble here. It's been immobilised.
Yes, it's Wheelosaurus attacking Sergeant Bash in Series 2, who just so happened to be featured in our fantasy fight, losing to Lamsey, of course. So Wheelosaurus did have its moment in the spotlight, didn't it? I think that was its most famous moment, killing Sergeant Bash in the gauntlet. Your questions now. We have our first one here from Flick de Boss. Which robot could have been a potential champion if it had been in a different heat? Excellent question, Flick de Boss. Yes. Now, I think one of the biggest upsets for me was in Series 6, 259. Now, okay, it was self-inflicted because at the end 259 did die, but I think if 259 maybe had been in another heat, because I think as a wild thing it was so tenacious it wouldn't let go. I think 259 would have easily made the semi-finals, if not the grand final, and been a potential champion. Anarchy as well from Series 6. I think Anarchy has said this before, and of course making it through to our Fantasy Fight Annihilator. Anarchy was the best walking robot, without doubt. There was no one that even came close. And again, maybe in a different heat. I think maybe Anarchy in the Spawn Again heat, I think, would have been brilliant. Anarchy would have easily beaten Spawn Again. Spawn was kind of hobbling, wasn't it, in Series 6? And of course, one of the most unluckiest robots is Behemoth. Okay, they made it to the grand final in Series 10, the semis in Series 2. I think Behemoth should have won at least something. Thank you. Bot Builder, we've got another question here. How would you rank every grand final fight? Okay, so Bot Builder, nice to hear from you again. Keep up the good work. Check out Reactivated number 21, where I go into more detail about how I thought of the grand finals. Very underwhelming. So you'll find that I put Series 7 as my favourite, okay, even though I have me issues with Series 7 as a whole, but in terms of that fight, it was definitely the best and most entertaining. Least entertaining Series 6. I agreed with what Tornado did. Check out Reactivated number 1 for what I thought of this particular fight. But it was, you could just tell that, you know, going into that fight, Tornado was going to win because of what it did to the robot. And then Series 4 was a close second, but the rest were very anticlimactic, weren't they? So thank you, Bot Builder. Check out Reactivated 21. And Samuel Lima 6193. Hello. Could a new series of yours have involved fan-submitted robots? Yes, there was a point where, I suppose if it wasn't for COVID, we were thinking of a Series 9 and designing robots based on other channels' robots and asking for designs and if we could replicate robots that we saw on other channels and put them into the arena. Because we started doing, of course, with the Hexbug range in Series 7 and 8. And I think the next stage, to bring something different to the series, it would have involved other robots from other channels. So Samuel Lima, thank you very much. I've got a few more left here, but the cease has gone. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover for this episode. Yes, thank you all so much for your questions. Keep them coming in. Like, share, subscribe, download, enjoy, and we'll see you very soon on Reactivated. Thanks.